Okay, so video number 2. I was wondering how you felt about shaving your head a while back. You mentioned it was a rough time in your life, and I was wondering if the hair had any connection to it. Did you feel any more liberated, better, or worse about yourself when you shaved it? I'm thinking about doing it myself very soon, and I was hoping for some input. I wouldn't say it really had anything to do with my hair exactly. I think it had a lot more to do with me trying to purge everything that I had been carrying with me. I shaved my head at the start of my Great Depression, which was triggered by the loss of my marriage, but I didn't really start grieving it until a year after we split up. Because I was running away from it, because I didn't want to deal with it. Because those feelings are awful. So yeah, my shaving my head was at the start of my depression, my whole grieving process. And it was just my way of purging all of my relationship, well, romantically anyway. And everything that I carried with me from that. It was kind of my way of starting over, a rebirth in a sense, I guess. It didn't make me feel better. Didn't make me feel worse. There were feelings that came along with me doing that I was kind of taken aback by. For instance, I realized that all of my femininity was wrapped up in my hair, and that was like the one thing that I really felt made me beautiful, and so once I took it away, I was kind of stuck there just feeling like really exposed and unattractive and unfeminine, and I was kind of frantic and panicking and just like, I didn't know, what do I do? Fuck, this sucks, this feels so bad. But it wasn't the shaving my head that made me feel bad, it was just not really being aware of like where I had put those identities and emotions, and just stripping myself of them and having to rebuild from scratch. So that was not fun. I feel it was a crucial part of my growth and my grieving process. I needed to do it for months before I actually shaved my head. I was getting really intense visuals of scissors and things like that, and I just had really strong urges to cut my hair off. And for those of you who don't know, I cut off 36 inches of hair. So on my body, it went to about here. So I had a lot of hair, and it was very beautiful. Very beautiful long mermaid hair. But I would say that if I had it to do over, I would absolutely do it again, because I feel like it was really important, and it helped me find myself in a number of ways that I don't think I would have even peeked at otherwise. So if you're still thinking about doing it, I would say go for it. If you think it's something that would be good for you and would help you, absolutely do it. Don't be surprised what you find under your hair, though. It can throw you for a loop. Next question. Do you have any advice for a person considering veganism? I've been on and off vegetarian for a few years, but never really fully committed to it. I know about meatless alternatives and have a few books on veganism. I suppose what I'm wondering is about dealing with friends and family. I don't get much support just being meatless, and veganism might be even more foreign to them. I guess I could do with more advice on what to say / do without becoming a super bitch. The way I handle it is to just tell people to educate themselves on veganism before they try to chirp at you about it. Because anybody who does their reading and their research will know that it's not bad for you. That it can actually be really good for you as long as you feed yourself properly. And that goes with any diet. So I usually just tell people, especially when they start bringing up questions like, where do you get your protein? And what about your calcium? Just like really super generic, obvious questions like that. I usually just stop people right there and I'm like, if you want to talk to me about this, that is fine, but I'm not going to talk to you about this until you know what the fuck you're talking about. Because I found that most of the people who try to talk to me about nutrition know absolutely nothing about nutrition or like the vegan diet or anything like that. We have it ingrained into our brains that we need meat and milk and cheese and all of this shit to be healthy, and it's just not fucking true. So it's a matter of just like breaking that down and like having them educate themselves, because I feel like it's far more effective if they educate themselves than having you like chirp information in their ear, because they're just going to brush off whatever you say if they've already made up their mind that it's bad for you. And if they're persistent about it, just tell them that your diet and the things that you do with your body are absolutely none of their business. I think those are the two best ways to deal with it without being a super bitch. I don't really have much advice for those becoming vegan. I'm not really good with this kind of stuff. I think it's important to go into it with realistic expectations. Don't expect to like go from being omnivorous one day to the next day being like raw vegan, because I don't feel like you'd be able to go vegan and stay vegan. I think that's a ridiculous idea. I think it's really important to try to eat the same things or similar things to what you ate before, just modified to be vegan. I find that those are some of my favorite things to eat as a vegan. Like, for instance, stroganoff. I absolutely fucking love stroganoff. So I found a way to make it vegan. There's a whole big vegan world out there with all sorts of like possibilities and yummy things. So I'm sure like figuring out things to eat and making them delicious would not be difficult. You just need to be creative and kind of don't limit yourself to this like tiny box. I feel like that's what a lot of like new vegans do, and that's why they're like they feel like they can't like sustain themselves on a vegan diet because they don't feel like they can eat anything. They're like, I have like fruit and vegetables and like grains and soy milk and that's it. And there's far more than that. You just have to keep your eyes open. So just be open-minded, be realistic, do the best you can. And fuck the haters. Next question. My fiance and I have a great relationship, except for one major, to me, thing. He has next to zero sex drive. He is perfectly content with having sex once a week or even once every other week. I'd be happier if it was every day. we've talked about it, but nothing changes. It makes me question whether I should be getting married to him if I view sex as such an important part of our relationship, and he obviously doesn't. I also worry that he has some kind of testosterone deficiency since he's only 26. Any advice? I wouldn't necessarily assume that he has some sort of testosterone deficiency just because he doesn't want to have sex as much as you do. Some people are more sexual than others, and that's okay. I understand that it's hard being in a relationship with somebody who you're on completely different sexual wavelengths with. That's really difficult, especially because you're obviously not satisfied. You're obviously not getting what you need, and that's not fair to you. So I'm not really sure what advice I can give to you, aside from maybe if you're interested in the possibility of stepping out of the relationship to fulfill those sexual needs, maybe talking with him about that. Because if you're not getting what you need from him, then you might need to do that. If that isn't something that works for you, maybe you two could work out some kind of arrangement or something to where, like, there's like some mutual masturbation or something going on. Just some sort of like sexual interaction between you two. Because I absolutely understand like how important that can be, and how awful it feels when you feel like you need it and you're not getting it. And not even necessarily in a sexual way, but like in an emotional way. It feels really bad. If it could also be that he doesn't really view it as being that big of a deal. Like, he doesn't understand the magnitude of like your desire or your needs here. So he could just be kind of shrugging it off. So I would try to talk with him and make sure he knows or understands it's more than you just being like, hey, I want to have sex. The dog barking just like totally throw my brain. If he is unwilling to like budge or be flexible at all in any way, or nothing changes, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would marry him. So you can make your own decisions though. But just try to talk with him. Try to make sure he understands. I don't want him to feel pressured or forced into doing things that he doesn't want to do. But I also think that he needs to understand where you're coming from. So if stepping out of the relationship to fulfill those needs is something that is an option and maybe even like a possibility, I say go for it. If not, then try to work around what you've got going on. Try to get like some kind of shit going on. Find out like what he needs. What would make him more what would make having sex more often more appealing to him? What would do it for him? Because there's got to be something here. So yeah, talk to him. Real talk. Yeah. Next question. I'm a super submissive male, but I have some major shames about it because I'm a guy and I'm supposed to be rough and masculine and in control. Obviously, this isn't always the case, but it'd be wonderful. But it would be wonderful to hear from someone I respect as much as I respect you that I'm not a freak or a weirdo. You're not a freak or a weirdo. It's normal. We all have our things. Some of us are more dominant than others. Some of us are submissive. Some of us are switches. Some of us go both ways. I am a switch, or I was. I don't really know where I'm at. I'm also a female. But I don't think there's anything wrong with being submissive. There's some women who are incredibly dominant and they like super submissive males. So you shouldn't feel anything bad about it. I don't think just because you're a man you need to be rough and masculine and in control. I think that's just like societal bullshit, and I don't think you should bend to that in any way. Do your thing. Be proud of you and your sexuality, and don't let anybody tell you that it's wrong, because that's bullshit. You are absolutely fine. You're totally good, baby. This is too long. I'm gonna turn